Welcome back for another episode of RBP. It is me, Ross Bolen, here with the man people call J-Bone, Jared Borislow. J-Bone, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? A lot of people, they call me J-Boney the Zamboni because I'm just really good at clearing ice.
Wow. Like methamphetamine?
Yeah, and I sometimes I will rob people of their jewelry, usually old people. They can't do anything about it, generally.
Cool. Okay. It's a weird admission to make up front, but I'm glad we got that out of the way.
You said I had immunity on the podcast. I could admit to any crimes I wanted, and I was fine.
Oh, yeah. I think I just said that to entrap you. This is entrapment. You've been entrapped. The feds are probably going to kick in the door any second, but I got to say, I cannot remember the last time I came into the studio like, welp, not sure what we're going to talk about today. Like the first 100 episodes of this podcast or so, that used to happen a lot. Like I'd be like, I don't know, I'm going to have to write a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, not anymore, man. Those days waved bye-bye. Now I just open my phone and every single freaking day, there's some nearly unbelievable story that basically writes my show for me. It's awesome. It feels like I'm cheating sometimes. It's not great for the world, but I'm just saying if anyone was looking for a silver lining to living in the most asinine and dystopian period in American history, or human history perhaps, it makes my job a little easier. So, at least we've got that going for us.
Isn't that what Darren Rovell said when Trump got elected as well?
That's what a lot of people in our industry said when Trump got elected.
I think his tweet was,
myself included.
I fear for our country, but this is tremendous content.
The content. Yeah, that was always my take, was that originally I was like, well, it's gonna be the best content that we've ever gotten out of any politician, period, not just president, any politician. And then my ability to enjoy that content quickly faded as things just got completely out of control. But goes without saying, I am starting today with insane headlines of the day. And here is your first one. Comedian Dave Chappelle tackled on stage during LA Festival show. I'm assuming at this point you have seen the footage of this.
I have, yeah. I was watching it while I was taking a dump this morning.
Yeah, so Chappelle was performing an act as part of the Netflix is a Joke comedy festival at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles, and a man who police said was armed with a replica gun rushed the stage and tackled Dave Chappelle as he was performing in Los Angeles at this comedy festival. They confirmed the attack, the Los Angeles Police Department, early this morning, saying the weapon the man was carrying can eject a knife blade when you discharge it correctly. So it was a gun-shaped weapon that ejects a knife, like a switchblade shaped like a gun.
Okay.
Switchblades are illegal.
The thing about that weapon to me is like usually if I'm thinking you're trying to if I'm thinking that I'm trying to conceal my knife, I want to put it in something innocuous, like a cane or like a wallet they shoot, or an umbrella.
Sure, James Bond with the shit.
You're way more likely to draw attention to your knife if it is in the shape of a gun.
It just makes absolutely no sense. It's like if you wanted to opt for a weapon that looked like a weapon that was more dangerous than the weapon you're actually choosing. It's bizarre as hell. Like, to your point, when I think of stuff like this, I think of like a cane that can, you press a button and that cane turns into a sword. That's a thing we've seen in movies. We've also seen the cane turn into a gun in different movies, but absolutely nuts. And apparently he didn't just discharge it correctly, which is something that I'm familiar with myself.
Did he try to discharge the knife blade?
Unclear.
Okay.
Unclear if he made an attempt to actually use the weapon, but hey, it looks like all those comics complaining that Will Smith opened a dangerous door may have been right after all, because this is the first time in his career that anyone has gone at Dave Chappelle on stage, and he's been doing this for a long time, like 30 years or something. He has.
Now, I'm trying to think of a situation in which, like, what is the point of the knife disguised as a gun? Is it like, hey man, I hold it up to you, you go, oh shit, he's got a gun, he's gonna shoot me. And then I eject the knife out and you go, oh no, he's just gonna stab me.
Yeah, it's only slightly more dangerous than the prop gun where you pull the trigger and a flag comes out the end that says bang. that they have in Looney Tunes cartoons.
Yep, that's how Alec Baldwin killed somebody. People say. Allegedly.
So the attacker was a member of the audience at the show. He was detained by the venue's security team, later taken to the hospital with, quote, superficial injuries. There's a video online of the attack, and there's actually another video of the dude being carried away on a stretcher after being savagely beaten down by, apparently, Busta Rhymes, huge, Jamie Foxx, pretty well-built, in-shape guy, and Dave Chappelle, who everyone knows put on about 100 pounds of muscle for his second career win that he is currently still in the midst of. Apparently, the dude tackled Dave, security got him off stage, Dave went off stage, and then Busta, Jamie, and Dave Chappelle beat the shit out of this fool, jumped him, broke his arm because his elbow was like bent in some crazy direction.
The superficial injury, like, it's superficial. I'm looking at his fucking arm and it's bent upside down.
How do they decide if your injury is superficial or official?
I don't. Is that the
How do they decide?
I don't. This reminds me of that like famous viral news clipping. That's like a man was detained after robbing an old woman. It turns out a group of Marines were also entering the grocery store at the same time. The man suffered a broken nose, broken orbital, 2 broken arms, 2 broken legs. It's thought that he fell off a curb. You know, one of those things.
Superficial injuries. Yeah. Apparently, this dude's the attacker's name is Isaiah Lee. He's a 23-year-old, and he's only being held on $30,000 bail, which is odd to me because it's a felony count of assault with a deadly weapon that he's being charged with, and $30K just doesn't seem like enough money to me. Maybe they base that on your wealth, income. I don't fucking know. BuzzFeed reporter Brianna Sachs shared a video of the man being loaded into an ambulance. Sachs said that before the attack, the comedian spoke about increased security around him in the wake of widespread backlash for jokes he has made about the transgender community. Everybody's aware of Dave's controversy within the LGBTQ plus community, particularly the trans community. It's just insanely ironic that he had just spoken to the fact that he has added security and for his family's safety, and then somebody still got up on stage. And look, you and I have spent way too much time lately talking about spectator events where fans are able to make their way onto the performance stage, whether it be, Memphis Grizzlies basketball, or it was Minnesota Timberwolves basketball games, I believe, NBA playoff games, or Dave Chappelle performing in Los Angeles at a Netflix comedy festival. According to the social media video, Chappelle joked after the incident that the attacker was a trans man. Ballsy joke to make immediately after being attacked. Interesting, but it was obviously a reference to the backlash that he's received for his controversial jokes about the transgender community in his Netflix special, The Closer. Chris Rock, who performed earlier that day, later joined Chappelle on stage and joked, "Was that Will Smith?" Which feels like low-hanging fruit, and he could have done better, but nonetheless, it's still interesting that he got up there and made the reference at all.
It's like the first time he's made a joke about it, really, right?
I think so. So this is, look, obviously not good. The precedent being set here isn't good, and it's that if you disagree with something someone's saying, like Will Smith disagreed with Chris Rock, like this gentleman disagreed with Dave Chappelle, you voice that disagreement via physical violence. That is not good. That's not a good thing for comedy. It's not a good thing for entertainment. It's not a good thing for fucking anybody. That being said, it couldn't have gone better. I mean, the fact that he just happened to have Busta Rhymes and Jamie Foxx close by, I don't think there's a cooler story that either 3 of those dudes will ever be able to tell than the time Dave got attacked on stage and then the 3 of them got to just basically jump the dude backstage. Like right off stage, they just pounded his ass.
When you watch the video, the guy's form tackle at first looks kind of good, but I mean the second
he got sidestepped though. Dave got out of the way a little bit.
The second he hits Dave just kind of turns sideways and that guy just kind of falls down and you're like, oh man, I would have been nice to get like a good form tackle in, you know?
Everybody loves somebody getting speared. That's why NFL Blitz was such a fun video game. But
remember Jacked Up?
Jacked Up?
It was the segment where it was like an NFL official segment where it was just the biggest hits, and it's clearly just all CTE.
Yeah.
Hits.
All people getting concussions,
Yes.
all defenseless receivers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they don't do that segment anymore on
No,
ESPN.
They don't.
What was I going to say? Now, for those of you who watched the Chappelle show way back in the day and are familiar with Dave since the beginning of his career, he used to be a very lanky man, super skinny, tall dude, right? And then after all the controversy with him leaving Chappelle's show, going to Africa, coming back, relaunching his career, getting back into stand-up, the first time we got eyes on him, every single person was like, holy mother of God, has Dave been doing steroids? Like, he got huge. He is probably the last comedian I would attempt to confront on stage because he just looks like he can throw down. So, not the best move by this guy. I've got another insane headline of the day for y'all, but just a ridiculous story we have to break down. We got to take care of some business first. Today's episode is brought to you by Felix Gray Glasses. 5 years ago, Felix Gray set out to create eyewear that would improve daily screen time, and since then, Felix Gray has been on a mission to create a better relationship with technology. Their lenses filter 15 times more blue light that can make screen time tough on eyes and disruptive to sleep. I've been working on the internet for over a decade now. I spend like 10 hours a day staring at screens. My eyes get worn the hell out, and when I'm done with work, I like to relax by either watching movies or playing video games. All of those things obviously involve screens. So a couple years ago, when I was introduced to Felix Gray, everything changed. These glasses are the quality of designer frames. It's not some cheap blue light coating painted over the top that's going to chip off. There's no chipping, no cheapness, just incredible quality designer frames that are stylish and functional as they protect your eyes from all the blue light that screens we rely upon emit. Not easy to cut back on screen time if you're like me and your career revolves around screens, but you can do yourself a solid and get yourself some Felix Grays to get relief from those headaches, dry eyes, blurry vision, and what have you that occurs over the course of your workday. I've got a lot of pairs, but my favorite are the Faraday, the Nash, and the West. So spend the rest of 2022 with comfortable eyes. Use our URL, felixgrayglasses.com/RBP to support the show and get free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges. Non-prescription and prescription available. They've got nighttime glasses to help you wind down before sleep. Check them all out now. felixgrayglasses.com/RBP. That's FELIXGRAY glasses.com/RBP for free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges. Here's your other insane headline. And I'm going to apply a trigger warning here because there's a lot of talk of alleged suicides that are more than likely actually assassinations. Buckle up, buckaroo. At least 5 Russian businessmen have died by apparent suicide in just 3 months. And not just any Russian businessmen. That's not even giving credit. They're like all members of the oligarchy or state-owned gas and oil companies, basically. So, to get into the story from CNN, at least 5 prominent Russian businessmen have reportedly died by suicide since late January, with 3 of them allegedly killing members of their families before taking their own lives. 4 of the dead men were associated with the Russian state-owned energy giant Gazprom or one of its subsidiaries. CNN's calls to Gazprom have not been returned, obviously. Continuing from CNN, a top executive at Gazprom was found dead in his cottage in the village of Leninsky near Leningrad on January 30th, 2022, according to Russian state media RIA Novosti.
Probably a bastion of truth and honor.
I'm sure. No propaganda there at all. RIA reported that a suicide note was found at the scene and that the investigators were investigating the death as a suicide. Russian national broadcaster REN-TV has identified the man as Leonid Shulman, the head of transport at Gazprom Invest.
Is REN-TV kind of like the Jeremy Renner owned, potentially?
It's RIN, so I hope not. Oh. Just a month after that, another top executive at Gazprom was found dead in the same village. This guy was in his garage, according to a Russian independent newspaper, also reported dead by suicide. Mikhail Watford, don't know, a Ukrainian-born Russian billionaire, was found dead in his home in Surrey, England, on February 28th. Surrey police told CNN that the death is being investigated by the coroner, who said a hearing will be held on July 29th. Don't know why it has to take that long. Another Russian businessman, Vasily Melnikov, was found dead alongside his family in Nizhny Novgorod in late March, according to the Russian newspaper Commissariat. They all have, I can't read any of these names. This dude owned Medstom, a medical supplies company. He was a 43-year-old, and his wife and 2 children were found, like, hacked up and murdered as well. The obvious inference to make here is that these dudes are all being whacked, right? A few of these guys had reason to believe that they were on Putin's, what is the list called? Hit list. And it's just a crazy time, generally, everywhere, but specifically in Russia and in Ukraine, as they are in the middle of a freaking war. But Russia has always been known as this place of secrecy, of disinformation. You know, Chernobyl is the best example, right? Like all the shit that's happened with Russia over the years. There's so many examples where they refuse to give accurate information about what has occurred.
What is the cost of lies
in their country? Great show, Chernobyl. If you've never watched it on HBO, it was phenomenal. My favorite show of that year. I think it was 2020.
Oh yeah, that is my favorite biopic of all time. Series,
unbelievably well done.
By the way, if the thing about that series, if you like the series Chernobyl, there's a YouTube video where somebody compares shots from the show to Russian news footage, and they directly, actually, legitimately recreated a ton of Russian news footage,
like the angles and the
all the clothes they're wearing, it's insane.
HBO doesn't play around, man. Yeah, and earlier this month, talking about April, this is about 5-day-old news here. 2 more Russian businessmen died in apparent murder-suicide incidents. So what it sounds like is people who either have information that could be damaging to the Kremlin or Putin, or that are potentially have, said things going against Putin or the Kremlin or the war in Ukraine, are just, not only they're ending up dead, but they're making it to look like these people killed themselves, and then oftentimes also members of their families. I don't know what the situation is like. I obviously know that, for instance, Brittany Griner, WNBA star who has been in Russia for like 3 months now, she can't get out. But I figured if you were a Russian billionaire, that surely you could find a way to get out of the country. And if you're one of them, and I assume there are many more, and you're still there, you got to be freaking the fuck out, right?
One of those guys was in England at the time. Remember?
I guess, yeah. Even if you leave, man, they'll come for you. The KGB is everywhere.
Remember they killed that one guy in Salisbury, England, that they put the like Novichok like deadly shit on his doorknob.
What's Novichok?
I don't know. Some shitty fucking Russian agent that kills you. Chemical agent.
On your doorknob?
Yeah, they put it on his doorknob. And then he didn't die.
Oh, that's a crappy way to go.
I don't know if he died. He was in the hospital.
What happened to Tom? He opened his door. Now he's dead.
Yep.
Weak. Anyway, those are our insane headlines of the day. I don't really recommend traveling to Russia. That's my statement on travel to Russia. I wanted to learn about something I don't know much about today, and what I came up with was Monaco. And to make everybody feel about the rising cost of living in homes in America, Monaco will do that. So let's learn some facts. With an area of just 0.78 square miles and a population of only 38,300, Monaco is one of the densest countries in the world, which is not something I realized. It is a very, very small area, smaller than Central Park in New York City, and that's the entire country. And out of those 38,300-ish people, 12,261 are that's not even accurate. 12,261 millionaires in less than 1 square mile in Monaco. In less than 1 square mile? That is absolutely crazy. The average cost of a home is $4,560 per square foot. Usually in America, you hear about, high square footage is like $800 per square foot, or $500 per square foot is insane even. $4,560 per square foot. In 2017, the average home price, and I assume it's gone up quite a bit since then, was more than $5 million. That's not for a new construction. That's the average home price, $5 million. They've got 1 cop for every 100 residents. By the way, Monaco, you think of Monaco, what do you think of?
I mean, I think of the Formula 1 race.
What else?
Casino.
Casinos. The residents of Monaco are forbidden by law from gambling.
Really?
That'd be like the number one reason I'd want to move there. For the races and for the gambling on the races, and then all the badass casinos that they have. But if you're a citizen, you cannot participate. It's for visitors, for tourists. You're not allowed to gamble if you are a citizen of Monaco, which is crazy. Their GDP per capita is $165,420, the second highest in the world. More than 75% of their residents are foreign-born. They have the highest life expectancy in the world at 85.8 years. It helps when you've got all that money, I guess. And a poverty rate of, guess it,
0?
0.0. No poors allowed. And that's the thing I really wanted to talk about today. So you know, as a lot of Americans look around and go, I can't take it anymore. This place is falling apart. I want to move somewhere else. Perhaps you'll consider Monaco as an option. To become a citizen of this place, you have to meet a lot of requirements. Here are some from sterlingmigration.com. First, you are required to invest a minimum of 1 million euros, of which 500,000 must be deposited and kept in a Monaco bank. So you have to immediately contribute 500,000 euros into Monaco's economy. The other 500,000 has to go towards the purchase of a deed of property in Monaco. Additionally, you have to prove to the Monaco government how much money you have in your bank account to show them that you can afford to live there, like for the goods and services, right? That you have enough money to spend there, and you will have the means to procure adequate accommodations within Monaco, assuming your investment property will not be your place of residence because you have to have an investment property. You also have to have a clean criminal record, so I'm out. Can't go.
Oh, damn. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So after you provide all of that evidence, give them your bank accounts, put 500,000 euros into their shit, put another 500,000 into your own shit, but it's still their shit. Then you get to go through with an immigration official conducts a personal interview with you to determine your eligibility to become a citizen of a resident of Monaco. And that's just to become a resident of Monaco. A resident, not a citizen. So if you get to become a resident, then in 10 years, you can apply for citizenship through a process called naturalization, as long as your family and you spend at least 6 months of every year physically residing there. Additionally, as a resident, the investor may establish his or her own commercial enterprise in any of Monaco's economic sectors. And some of the country's most successful industries include ship management, private banking, financial services, and asset management. I noticed podcasting is not.
It's not
on the list for industries in Monaco that are successful. What in the hell? So, Avi, you mentioned the F1 race.
Yes.
What is the F1 race that's held in Monaco called?
The Monaco Grand Prix.
Is it the most expensive race to attend out of all the races, I assume?
I believe so.
Or one of them?
I believe so. I mean, it's one of those things where the race itself, as you noted, Monaco is very small. The race essentially takes place across the entire country because it's such a small country.
That makes it even cooler.
Now, the thing about the race is that it's widely known as the most boring Formula One race because it is the exact same circuit, maybe with some minor changes, but the same circuit that it's been on since it first happened, and I don't even know how long ago. The point being, the cars now are like twice as long and twice as wide as they originally were, but the street is the same width. So it's the whole point of Monaco is like, if you win qualifying, you're expected to win the race.
And now that
because
I'm thinking
people
about
can't pass by you.
I have seen a James Bond film with Daniel Craig where he actually is in Monaco at a race, and yeah, it looks like it would be pretty difficult to pass.
It is, yeah, incredibly difficult.
Also, was the race in Iron Man?
Yep.
In Monaco?
It was indeed, where the guy with the chains, and he slaps him on the ground.
And slices one of the cars in half and shit.
Yep, that's
sick.
So that didn't actually happen.
Right, it was a film.
It was
just fiction.
Just make sure you know that. So the thing about F1 in Monaco, because Monaco is such an iconic place in F1, a lot of drivers live there. Except that's not really why they all live there. They all live there because it's a massive, massive tax haven, the biggest tax haven in Europe.
Right. As many people know, there are places like the Cayman Islands that are, historically tax havens to people looking to avoid giving, 30%, 40%, 50% in some cases, different countries of their money to their government. And Monaco is another one of the most famous and obviously probably more difficult tax havens to actually hide some of your cashish.
So here's from an article on F1 Chronicle. The tax rules in Monaco: taxes on income, wealth, and capital gains do not apply to residents.
Damn.
Also, no inheritance tax is levied upon direct heirs. So you don't have any taxes on your income, your wealth, your capital gain. There's no taxes on anything.
So it's the most appealing place in the world for wealthy people
Yeah.
to live.
The
like
tax
really
rules-
wealthy people.
These tax rules mean that F1 drivers and anyone else living in Monaco get to keep all the money they earn from their salaries and sponsorship. And when you're an F1 driver, both of those things are getting you unbelievable amounts of money that you can then pass on to your direct heirs with no tax.
That's fucking crazy. And Monaco is one of those places where every once in a while you'll get one of those pictures that goes viral online of like an intersection where every single car in the intersection is like $500,000 plus. And I just feel like it would be incredibly emasculating to live there if you were, a broke boy like me.
Current F1 drivers who are residents of Monaco include Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, I already said Charles Leclerc,
Holy
Daniel
shit.
Ricciardo, Alex Albon, Sergio Perez. And these are just the most famous. There's also a bunch of past ones who still live there.
So almost all of the best known F1 drivers are residents of Monaco.
Uh-huh.
I guess I probably would be too.
Yeah.
If I was one of the best F1 drivers in the world. But the population thing is what blows my mind.
Yeah.
Under 40K, like just around 40,000 people, I'm assuming at this point.
It's just so small.
And it's, under 1 square mile.
It's beautiful
area.
there. Very beautiful.
12,261 millionaires in less than 1 square mile. So if you're in Monaco and you're not a millionaire, what the hell are you doing? I guess it's the millionaires need people to do stuff for them.
Yeah.
Like wash those $1 million cars and clean their multi-million dollar homes and spank their tight little asses and such.
Maybe there's families who have been there for like generations, before it became such a tax haven. I don't know.
If I was there and I wasn't a millionaire, I would get the fuck out. That's like the worst version of being a small fish in a big pond that I've ever heard of. Miserable.
Where's the one country that ranks above it in terms of the GDP?
I mean, look.
I'm going to guess Luxembourg.
Luxembourg?
That's my guess. But I also have another guess, and it's the Vatican City because the Pope is worth infinite dollars because of God.
Top 25 economies. Well, it's per capita, right?
Yeah.
Number one country GDP per capita
Uh-huh.
is the what I need. Yep, you were correct.
Luxembourg.
Luxembourg would be numero uno, it looks like. Perhaps. Maybe? Or Qatar? Cater? What's the other one you always see as like one of the rich? It's like always, how Apple TV, when you let it go for a long time on pause, it eventually goes to a screensaver. Oh, Dubai.
Oh, yeah.
Dubai is another one that I feel like it just is synonymous with wealthy people.
But those are like big countries. Like they have millions of people in them. That's why I'm
Right.
like, Monaco and Luxembourg are small as shit.
So it's like the most exclusive country club in the world, basically.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. You can't live there unless you can immediately put $1 million down.
Which is wild. And but not only that, and then pass the interview process.
Yeah.
So it's like not only do you have to be wealthy, they have to like you. And you probably have to know somebody. It's like trying to become a member at Augusta.
Soho House.
Yeah. To your point, Dubai, over 3.3 million people. And that was 2019.
Dubai is lit.
Significantly larger. Dubai is lit. Everybody knows that. Super lit. So there's some facts about Monaco, which I knew almost nothing about other than that I'd seen it in multiple James Bond films and one Iron Man movie. Much smaller than I imagined it in my head. Can you vacation there? Like, could you and I like book a trip to Monaco and like it would just cost, $20,000 in 2 days or something like
That's where
that?
everybody goes to Monte Carlo to go gamble.
Monte Carlo, unless you're a fucking citizen and you're not. That is such a bullshit rule. That sucks, man.
But maybe all these the residents can gamble, not the citizens.
I guess maybe that's correct. Yeah. Huh. Wild. What is? Hold on. I'm trying to find the sentence. Did it say resident or did it say citizen?
I imagine you have to sit. The law should
Oh yeah.
apply.
Citizens
Yeah.
of Monaco are forbidden by law from gambling. Because if you just okay. Well, there's your Monaco facts. Today's RBP is also brought to you by NordVPN. NordVPN is here to drastically enhance your web browsing experience and data security. Nobody likes to be watched or tracked, even if they have nothing to hide, and that's why it's important you step up your privacy game whenever possible. If you're not using a VPN right now, you're currently open to having your internet data creeped on in a big way. VPN actually stands for Virtual Private Network, for those of you who are like, VP what? It's a service that protects your internet connection and your privacy online. It creates an encrypted tunnel for your data, protects your your online identity, hide your IP address, allows you to use public Wi-Fi hotspots safely, and more. One of the things about it that's obviously coolest to me is that if you were to travel to somewhere like Monaco, let's say, and you still wanted to have access to all of your internet, all your streaming services, perhaps, I don't know what their rules are there. But
Netflix locks you out of American stuff when you leave America.
yeah, so you can use a VPN and gain access to your own stuff. Anybody who cares about their privacy should be using a VPN right now, and NordVPN is the best and fastest VPN provider in the business. It's software, not hardware. It's super easy to use across every major platform, whether you're Windows or Android or iOS or Mac OS or Linux, and your Android TV even supports NordVPN. You can connect with just one click, or you can enable auto-click for zero-click protection. Obviously, safety is paramount on the internet these days, and we all know that our data isn't necessarily as safe as we all once thought it was or would hope it to be. So VPN use has become bigger and better, and it just become a huge talking point over the last couple years, especially, and NordVPN is the best. Grab your exclusive RBP NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/Bolen to get a huge discount on your NordVPN plan plus free threat protection plus one additional month for free. The deal is completely risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. You got nothing to lose except a sense of insecurity. The link for that deal is in the description of our episode as well. Thank you to NordVPN for supporting RBP. And again, that's nordvpn.com/BOLEN, Bolen, code Bolen. I just read a story right before we started recording about some dude made a ghostwriting joke about Drake's son Adonis on the Instagram machine. He said, your son probably play with ghostwriters, in response to Drake's commentary on supportive fathers. And Drake eviscerated this guy by saying, I just followed your girl. It looks like she needs some support. Like, it looks like she'd be bored and want some excitement in her life or whatever. And it just got me thinking, who would be like, all right, let's, you're engaged to be married right now. Who is the worst person you could imagine to follow your fiance, your person, your girlfriend on social media?
I mean, I'm just going to go back and kind of run this one back. I'm just going to say the Pope, at Pontifex.
Why the Pope?
I mean, come on, dude. Pope follows you.
You think the Pope pulls?
I think the Pope pulls.
Really?
If the Pope follows your girl, it's God's will. That's all there is to it.
That's fair.
I can't fight God. I can't. What am I going to say? Pope unfollow her? No.
That's true. Drake has got to be one of the worst, though. That's not good. That feels mildly threatening.
Hito Rick
would be bad. Very bad indeed. I'm trying to think who I would find most threatening. Michael B. Jordan. You don't want that smoke.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that competition. It's not good. I'm not J. Cole, so I can't have Michael B. Jordan following my girl.
I mean, pretty much anybody who's been Me Too'd be on my list as well.
For harassment purposes?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about somebody who could realistically pose a threat to your relationship.
Okay, I know what you're saying.
Like, who would you be, like, if they follow your girl, that your girl would be like, well, don't need J-Bone anymore, because now Timothée Chalamet follows me on Instagram.
People seem to like Tom Holland a lot.
Yeah, but I think Zendaya's got that pretty locked down, So I don't worry about Tom Holland too much, although he is Spider-Man.
Who's Robert Pattinson? Zac Efron?
They'd both be up there.
Shawn Mendes.
Just hot dudes.
Yeah, Justin Bieber.
Biebs doesn't scare me.
No?
Nah.
Is it because
Well, I don't know, man. This is crazy. Bieber's on tour right now. I'm a 34-year-old fucking man. Every single woman, I should say, mothers of multiple children that I know. I'm talking mid-30s white chicks. Every single one of them went to see Bieber in their respective cities, and they went nuts like they did for the Beatles back in the day. I've seen so many social media videos, Instagram stories of grown-ass women at these Bieber shows going just absolutely nuts. So maybe Bieber is a pretty large threat still.
I mean, also
we've seen that hog.
Yes, we have. Also, you do, like, when your mugshot looks like a young Justin Bieber.
I wish that I had maintained my boyish Bieber facial circumstances. It's just gone. I don't look like Biebs anymore.
Except in the hog area.
Except in the hog area. Jared, as you know, I've had a lot of trouble driving behind the wheel of a car the last 13 years thereabouts, and as such, I have had to start considering alternative forms of transportation, such as the jetpack. Ironically, one of our listeners on Twitch recently became a bicycle guy, and shout out to Habib on Twitch for the segment suggestion. Dude's hitting like 8-mile bike rides while watching me on Twitch at the same time somehow, which seems incredibly unsafe. And probably how that Lakers coach on Winning Time ended up flipping over the front of his handlebars. But I was like, shit, bicycle guy isn't really an option for me. Like, it is, I mean, we used to work in an office building complex where there was a whole bunch of different companies in it, and every once in a while I'd see somebody biking up to the office, and that office was located off of 360, which it means that no matter where you were coming from, it was a decently difficult bike ride to get there, a long bike ride that would make you extremely sweaty. It's too fucking hot here. Everything is too far. You can't, this is not a city that's built well for biking unless you happen to live in probably one of the more expensive areas where there are a whole lot of things within a short distance for you to get to. Also, my legs are twigs that don't provide any power. Like, bike riding has just never been my strongest skill set. Now, rowing, I can do. Rowing, I can crush. If bicycles were powered by my arms, then I'd be set. I've got great arms, but shit legs, golden dong. What other options are there for... Like, in Austin, for instance, a lot of dudes on mopeds. I see a lot of people traveling to work on mopeds. The little two-wheeled, sit-down, not quite a motorcycle, used to drive it for shits and gigs in Grand Theft Auto moped. I don't feel safe on that shit.
Yeah, those were huge in Madison. Like, I had a ton of friends who had mopeds. Like, which is funny because when I was back there now, I didn't really see that many of them. But they were really dangerous. People crash on them all the time.
I bet Monaco has a lot of mopeds.
Vespas, you know?
Vespa scooters.
Like Hilary Duff and Paolo. In that Hilary Duff movie.
Yeah, what was
Lizzie
that?
McGuire movie.
Why have I seen that?
I don't know.
Was that the Lizzie McGuire movie?
Hey now, this is what dreams are made of.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Paolo.
You're accessing a part of my brain that...
I don't want Paolo to follow my girl either.
It's triggering for me. No.
I think he ended up being a shithead. And then she ended up banging Gordo. I didn't watch the movie. I don't know.
Yeah. I was in and out.
She banged Gordo?
Who's
I don't
Gordo?
think she banged anybody, to be honest. It's in the Lizzie McGuire movie.
I went to middle school with her cousin.
No shit.
I'm required to say it every time Lizzie McGuire comes up.
You went to middle school with Hilary Duff's cousin?
Yep. Shouts to the Duffs, man. They were like, I loved them. They were great.
Where's Hilary Duff from?
Houston.
Wait.
She went to Memorial High School.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Same school district as my little brother's high school, actually. Never saw her, not a single time. Heard about her a lot, though. Sometimes you'd hear, like, Hilary Duff threw a party this weekend. Like, shit like that. She was very famous in Houston. Yeah, scooters, mopeds, like that shit, I just can't get, like, already I feel like part of my anxiety behind the wheel is driven, no pun intended, by the fact that I don't trust the other humans. I don't trust the other humans to make good driving decisions.
So yeah, definitely not a motorcycle or a moped.
Which is why I've always been skeptical of motorcycle guy or girl, because I'm like, I just don't know how you have that much faith in these jackasses on the highway to not just be like, whoops, forgot to check my side mirror, and you're dead.
Okay, so
You know
what
what
you
I mean?
need then is something that has an incredible safety rating, so super safe, but also one of the cars that not only does it have a great safety rating, but the idea is if you crash into somebody 100 times out of 100, the other car is the one that gets destroyed and not yours. Cybertruck.
Cybertruck or whatever that thing is that Kanye drives up to McDonald's in the commercial he did for the Super Bowl. It's kind of like a Cybertruck, but more of a tank.
Maybe a Pope mobile to go for the Pope a third time. It's bulletproof.
How come no Lyft there? That's if I was a ride-sharing driver, Lyft, Uber, what have you, I would Pope mobile my car, and I don't mean like make it bulletproof. I mean put a glass container on the top of it so that my passenger can sit or stand up there instead of being in the car with me and just check out everything from a really sweet view. It's probably super illegal.
Dude.
Unless you're the Pope.
Think anybody's ever joined the Pope High Club? Just had sex in the back of the Pope
By
mobile?
banging in the Pope mobile? I feel like that's a cardinal sin you can't recover from. A really tough one to explain at the pearly gates. Yeah, it says here on February 22nd of 2009, you climbed into the back of the Pope mobile and reenacted that scene from Titanic. What were you thinking? Yeah, you get the elevator straight down to hell for that.
Well,
that's no good.
worth it?
Maybe. Pope-mobile sex might be the most coveted version of sex. It's hard to say.
Another cool thing to do in the back of the Pope-mobile, you know, sometimes at those like dirt bike shows where they have like the globe of death and the dirt bikes go in circles, and then at the end the dirt bike's going like upside down through.
Yes, that shit's sick.
Dude, get a mini dirt bike and do that shit in the Pope-mobile.
Oh, there's a fucking Ryan Gosling movie called Not Between Two Ferns. That's Zach.
Where the Red Fern Grows.
It's The Place Beyond the Pines. And he does that shit. He's a dirt bike guy that rides in the crazy sphere in a circle thing. It looks crazy. Like, how do you not puke on yourself? It reminds me of the carnival ride, the Gravitron, where you're stuck up against the side of the wall and it spins super, super, super fast. Except you're actually the one in control. I would just eat shit and die.
When you said carnival ride, the first name of a carnival ride that came to my mind was the Wizinator, which is not a carnival ride. It's a prosthetic penis, I believe. They use it past drug tests.
Oh, yeah. Never used one of those, man. I've had to take, I haven't done one in 13 years, but I had to take like a couple hundred drug tests over the course of my probation, probably. And never once, I thought about it because I failed several of these. I thought about trying to be a Wizinator guy, but the thing is, man, like when you're on probation in Harris County, which is where I was in Houston, when you have to go do the piss test because of the Wizinator, there's a dude that goes to the bathroom with you, and then around the toilet, there's a mirror in the front and on both sides. Point being that he can stand behind you, look into the mirror, and the job of this gentleman is to watch you pull your penis out of your pants, verify that it is in fact your real penis and not a Wizinator, watch you make pee-pee in a cup, and then take that cup from you immediately so as to not have any version of a contaminated or false, fake drug test. And I'm telling you, man, that shit is there. I never recovered from that.
I'm a shy peer. I could not do that. I'd be like, hey man, like you're gonna stand here looking at my cock all fucking day, and to make it more uncomfortable, I'm probably gonna get hard. I'm just to piss you off. Like I don't know what you want me to do, man. I'm not gonna pee unless you stop looking.
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. This is really turning me on. Having you looking right over my shoulder, staring at my dong while I try to pee. This is incredibly erotic for me. Could you please step out of the room? Yeah, no, I'm not joking. There was one time, I've told this story before, but I'll tell it very quickly. When I was on probation and I had a court-ordered drug test before my court date, so I couldn't even go into the court before finishing administering this drug test, peeing into a cup. My dad had to sit there with me in the courthouse for like 5 hours while I chugged water out of the water fountain. And I got called back 3 or 4 different times to try to pee in front of this guy. And after like 2 minutes of standing there with my penis in my hand and him staring at it from 3 different angles, judging it, I was like, I can't do this, man. Like, this is not working. So I kept having to drink more water, more water, more water. And eventually, for those of you who are aware of this, like, you can drink too much water and get really sick. You can actually die from overhydrating yourself. And I drank so much water that it ended up being one of the most painful experiences of my life, but I did, in fact, end up making pee-pee. It just took forever. And ever since then, I am a stall peer because I hold my ability to pee in private in such high regard now after having that taken from me for a little bit by force.
I'm a stall peer,
man. I'm not,
every time. If they're
fuck the urinal. And splashback is the other big reason, but go ahead.
One time I briefly lost my trust even in the stall because I was peeing. Went to a fraternity party at Theta Chi, which I believe they got kicked off at Wisconsin.
Right.
Not my fraternity. They invited me. I was like, you know what? I'll check out, see what these guys are like. Why not? It's St. Patrick's Day. I'm pissing in the stall. One of the Theta Chi brothers pops over the fucking stall, looks down at my penis.
Is nothing sacred?
I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, oh, dude, sorry. I thought you were like a brother. I'm like, no.
Even if you were.
Right? If I wouldn't even want my fraternity brothers to look over the stall. Like if I'm in the stall, that is my space.
Yeah.
And if you breach the sanctity of the stall, I have the right to knock you out.
You know how when your dog is taking his shit, it looks over its shoulder at you like, watch my back so nobody can get me or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like that's the feeling I get when somebody's, like Ace Ventura staring at my penis while I'm trying to take a piss. It's just, that's my time and this is my penis. Now I feel unsafe. What are you going to try to take it from me? And that's always been an issue for me in the stuff. And I feel like the guys who are confident urinal peers, they judge the shit out of us, right? And I think they all assume and make like small penis jokes about us. It's got nothing to fucking do with that. I don't want you to see my dick no matter how big, perfect, and wonderful it is or small and shitty and shriveled it is. It's not about that. That's my show.
Yeah.
You got to pay to see that. And if you're getting a free glimpse, what the fuck are we doing here? And also just why would you pick pissing right next to another person in the open air over the stall? Why?
I think by the end of our lives, the urinal will be gone. Or at the very least, there'll be urinals with dividers that make any visibility not possible.
And you know those ones where they half-ass it and they put up a divider that's 2.5 feet and you're just like, who the fuck is this stopping?
Dude, how about a trough?
Come on.
How about a trough?
Those are the worst.
Are you kidding me? I'm not going to fucking pee in that.
I can't tell you. There's one of my favorite bars in Austin on Lake Austin Boulevard. What is that one called? It's got a pool burger attached to it
Cabaret.
now. Deep Eddie
That is the worst fucking bathroom.
Bro, what is that? That's a room to be murdered in, dude.
Okay, so it's just so people know, you walk in and straight ahead of you is a sink. To the left, there's a trough along one wall.
And when he says trough, he means literal trough drilled into the wall that goes all the way down it, like a fucking feeding trough for horses.
There's that, and then there's a toilet, but there's no divider. So if you want to take a shit, you can't. There's no locking of the door. If you want to take a shit, you would take a shit, and then directly to your right, there would be dudes peeing in the trough.
And everyone is just in on your shame there. And yeah, and then when you pee in the trough, you watch the piss like run down river. Like, it's not going away fast enough, and everybody's pee is all mixing together in the... I realize that happens anyway, but I don't want to watch it happen.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not trying to be visibly disgusted by my pee intermingling with other people's pee.
Can I make you happy, though?
Sure.
Because I'm the kind of person where, like, the quality of a bar's bathroom will determine whether or not I will be going to that bar frequently.
It determines how much time I spend there, for sure, or did back in the day.
I'll let you know something nice. When they renovated the bottom half of that bar to add in pool burger, some delicious burgers, they did add in 2 restrooms, both single use.
Damn, but see, that's kind of lame because now the vibe of that place has shifted entirely.
I mean, the vibe of the place shifted when they added pool burger. It's kind of a bougie burger spot to be on a huge dive bar, but
yeah, and also, but didn't some local rich fuck buy that place from the old owner or whatever? I'm pretty positive they did.
I mean, yeah, it's a dive bar.
It was cooler before, man.
It's essentially a dive bar that's being kept a dive bar because it's a dive bar.
Dive bar.
Not because it is a dive bar.
Right.
Because they're trying to maintain the status.
That's like the perfect little microcosm of Austin.
Yes.
Of what's happened here.
It really is.
From a very cool original dive bar with the worst restroom in the world. But I going there was awesome. I love going there. Just grungy locals like fucking smoking cigarettes and talking about like their ex-wives and that side like back smoking square they have that's fenced in. Have you ever been back there?
Yeah. I was just there recently.
That's like another murder zone. I just feel like at any second you could be, stabbed by someone that's got a gun-shaped knife. But dude, nothing is worth. I've been in some bad restrooms. We all have. Everybody who spent time drinking for many, many years in bars has been in bad restrooms. And I've told the story about one in San Marcos where they had one of those. It was a toilet with no protection where you would on occasion see a real sicko taking a shit there and just be like, "That's the most confident, disgusting person I've ever seen." One of my dear friends and co-host on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, Barrett Dudley, once did that in front of me, and it scarred me permanently. But nothing is worse than that trough at Deep Eddie Cabaret. It's so disturbing.
You just brought something to my attention. I meant to tell you I was bringing this up today, and I forgot until right now because it's bathroom related.
Okay.
So recently on Twitter, I declared the St. Louis Lambert International Airport the worst airport in America.
Okay.
Which it is.
Why is that?
For a number of reasons. Number one, it's always way overcrowded. Like, I don't know. They need to add another wing into this airport because, like, you're pushing through crowds and seas of people to get anywhere.
Too much action, not enough space.
Secondly, it's disgusting. It's dirty, trash everywhere. One of the bathrooms I went to had no soap and no paper towels and no air dryer. So what's the fucking point of that?
Wiping your hands on your pants.
But here's the kicker. Here's what made me tweet that out. I was in the bathroom, right?
Okay.
So the way the bathrooms there work, number one, because it's so there's a line for the bathroom because it's so overcrowded.
Right.
So you kind of feel rushed, like you feel like, oh shit, like I got to get in, get out. Now, because the amenities are so bad, the way these stalls work, okay? These stalls, they have stalls around the toilets. These stalls hang from the ceiling, okay?
Okay.
So like the stalls are attached at the ceiling, so there's no part of the actual stalls and fencing around the toilets touching the ground. So what happened, and I didn't notice this.
What the fuck is the point of that?
Probably because it's easier to clean.
Okay.
You don't have to move around all of the different parts of the stall touching the ground.
I've just never seen that before.
Well, if so, you go, oh, that's actually not a bad invention. However, as soon as I sat down and I went to lock the door, so I'm trying to take a dump, an airport dump.
Sure.
Which, again, everybody knows I love to take dumps to the airport. Best place to take a dump.
Disgusting.
I realized that one of the support beams attaching the entire stall mechanism for all 5 stalls to the roof had broken off. So I went to lock my door, and the fucking wall to my right just starts swinging. Okay? The right side of my fucking stall while I'm on the toilet is just swinging.
Is now in motion.
And has now created a 1.5 to 2 inch gap between the door and the wall.
For somebody to come get a look.
So here's what I said. I said, okay, I think maybe this gap is bigger in my head than it actually is. You know, a lot of times at stalls, there's a gap between the door and the wall, but like nobody's going to look in. Nobody's going to look in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. There's a long ass line.
Well, I always look in when I notice it. I mean, you can't. That's the thing about noticing that crack is when you walk past the crack and you notice it. It's not a choice. Your eyes automatically go,
and then you look away as fast as possible.
Yeah, but you have to look. It's weird.
So I was like, okay, my flight is about to board. I don't think I have time to walk all the way across this crowded terminal through a sea of people to get to a bathroom that maybe doesn't have a broken fucking stall. So I just go for it, right? Take pants down, sit down.
Pendulum swinging wall next to you.
And I look up while sitting down, Ross. I look up, and there was a guy at the sink, and I made sure not to make eye contact, but like usually through you can maybe like make out somebody's eye, right, through the little hole. I could see this dude's whole fucking head.
Oh,
I was like I can't do it. Immediately picked up everything. Sprinted down the shittiest airport terminal in America, went to the other one where there was no broken stall thing. Bros, I'm talking 2 inches. It was essentially like I was pooping in an open room.
Yeah, and the thing about like it's the hard thing about pooping in one of these public restrooms, and the reason I do it as little as possible. I'm a home-based guy. Because when I'm in that situation and I can see somebody else and they can see me, or say I'm finishing up my business, my poo business, and then I go wash my hands and there's somebody standing next to me washing their hands, like they know too much about me now for a stranger. Like they're smelling my insides. Like that's my stench that's filled the air, or their stench in the case of me being in there and having to smell somebody else. And it's just like we don't know each other like this, man.
Yeah, it's not weird.
Like I don't know you well enough or at all to be inhaling your fumes, and there's got to be something bad there, right? Like if I can smell your shit, can't we safely assume that shit particles are making their way up into my nose in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
Bathrooms are gross. Just a gross idea. Well, we need somewhere for people to go. Let's create one that has a bunch of these toilets in it, and a whole bunch of people will go use it.
The best, I love. A lot of times you'll find these at like country clubs and like nice golf courses where you go into the bathroom and every single stall is it's behind a door, like its own room.
Just rich people, man. They got all kinds of shit we don't even know
Rich
about.
people figured out how to poop, man.
They've got the ultimate bathroom experiences. Yeah, I'll name Eberly, the restaurant in Austin.
Another great one.
It's a what is the word? Non-sexual restroom. Anybody
Gender
can go
neutral.
in. Gender neutral. Thank you. And when you go in there, like all the sinks are out right when you walk in, all the places to wash your hands, and then you go a little further, and there's just like 2 sides of doors to individual restrooms, and they're all private.
It's the way to do it.
And that shit is awesome. Also the W Hotel, but now we're just back at rich people again.
Yeah.
That is the best restroom that I've ever encountered to have sex or do drugs in, or both, or just piss or poop in privacy, which we all want. That's just the American dream. A nice, safe place to do your business without any interference, man. Any interference at all. What do you think about our restrooms here? Or your restroom here, I should say.
I mean, I like it. I share it mostly with Cade. You sometimes will go in there.
I can't because I can't poop in the other one anymore. That we put too small of a toilet seat on it. It doesn't fit for my bum.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just too lazy to switch it out.
Yeah, we should probably switch that out.
Or pay for another one, like toilet seat shopping.
Yeah, sometimes we'll run out of toilet paper because we go through an ungodly amount of toilet paper here for there only being 3.5 people who are here on a weekly basis.
It's true. I'm kind of a toilet paper hog, I won't lie. I use too much. Now that I'm doing more wet wipes, mixing wet wipes in more and more, like we've got the toddler at home, so there's wet wipes everywhere, and I've started pulling them out, and like we talked about the other day, I'm using less toilet paper than I was, but I still don't feel great about it.
Let's get a bidet.
We had one. I had one at one point.
Where is it?
I don't know. It's like in one of the closets hidden. We need to get it installed. I didn't know how to install it. That was the problem. I'm the least mechanical man in America. I don't know how to put things together. So we had one, and it was a sponsor, actually.
Yeah, Tushy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And then we just never got it installed.
Damn, you could have sold that for a premium during the toilet paper shortage at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, actually, after you and I had that conversation last week, I believe it was, about this, I've had people lighten me up like, you got to get a bidet. I'm like, I fucking have one. I just don't know where it is or how to install it. And that was Bathroom Talk with Jared and Ross. Yeah. Oh, by the way, shout out Jack McCall for crushing comments for us on TikTok. I've got a Bolen Media care package coming to you as a thank you. I mentioned this on Patreon last week, but for those of you who are on TikTok, if you see us on TikTok and you see one of our videos go by on TikTok, if you wouldn't mind just very quickly commenting, obviously like it as well, but comment and follow as well. But comment on that motherfucker. Just any comment, man. Just be like, ha 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 ha, best podcast ever, or ha 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 ha, best video I've ever seen, or just ha 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 ha.
If you want to be a true hero, if you're on TikTok, every time one of our videos comes up that you haven't seen yet, hit like, then go down to share, hit copy link, which counts as a share. You don't even have to share it. You can just hit copy link, which counts as a share, and then comment. And my God, you will be doing a massive service for us.
So I did this call out asking people to do that, and it applies to all of our Bolen Media TikToks, obviously, Formula Bone included. And this dude, Jack, just went absolutely nuts. Like, I mean, he commented on every single video we have ever freaking made. So I put together a really cool care package with Bolen Media merch and some different sponsor stuff that's going to be sent his way. I'm going to be picking one person per week to do that with. So if you crush it and you're in there on TikTok representing for us and the RBP gang, then please DM me, let me know that you're putting your name in the hat to be considered for a care package, and I'm going to pick somebody every week. I cannot tell you how much it helps. TikTok's algorithm is incredibly dependent on engagement, more so than any of the other social media platforms, and obviously has the most potential to help us gain exposure, grow our show and our business. So if you would, every time you see a TikTok from RBP or from Formula Bone or from Banging the Can, even if you just want to be nice and support my Houston Sports Podcast, give it a comment, give it a like, give it a share, and I will pick somebody each week for the foreseeable future anyway, until I say otherwise, to send a care package to as a thank you. Speaking of which, just follow us on all the social medias. On Instagram at The Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod, and then TikTok at The Ross Bolen Podcast as well. Follow Jared at Jared Borslow on Twitter and Instagram. And then make sure you follow the Formula Bone F1 show. New episode again this week. What's the next race?
Miami.
Bienvenido a Miami.
Preview coming tonight.
Preview coming for the big F1 race this weekend in Miami on Formula Bone F1 show, wherever you listen to RBP, and follow at Formula Bone on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter as well. We are on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, where every Friday we drop an ad-free exclusive episode just for our supporters right there on Patreon. And Jared and I will be back then, this Friday, with another ad-free exclusive show just for our supporters on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Get in there, support the show, support Bolen Media, and in return, you will get a third all-new material, same length, usually a little even more unhinged than the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, free Monday, Wednesday shows, right there on Patreon. Until next time, peace be with you, and also with you.